Hi, this is Tabitha Stephen, and the question for the day is, what is Earthbound? What the heck is Earthbound anyway? And I'm gonna talk about that, and I'm gonna explain to you what Earthbound based on my experience, based on my ND experience. And I had mentioned in the previous videos that for whatever reason my ND seemed to be more reality based. So I'm gonna kind of tell you what I experienced. But Earthbound really is a realm, and it is a middle ground, and there are for a whole lot of different reasons why people are Earthbound. There's a lot of different reasons, and a lot of different, a lot of different kind of souls that are Earthbound. But I'm just going to choose really kind of stick with the basics. And one, there are souls who are just not ready, who are unable to accept their death. So they want to stay in the realm of, they want to be in the earthly experience. They want to continue it. They're just not ready for heaven. They're not ready for it, and they're unable to accept their death. They have to keep. They're just not ready to do it, to go into the next step, which is really heaven. So they stay earthbound. There are other reasons why people are earthbound, and one of which is that some are just not ready to meet God. And nothing, as I said before, nothing is forced on you whatsoever. And so if you don't want to see God or meet God, that's really up to your decision. And so when it's your time, and when you feel like it's your time and you're ready to meet God, you can do that. And there are angels, I talked about this too, there are angels that are assigned to you that kind of really take care of you as best as they can. And I told you this before too, some of these angels have a tough job. From what I saw, man, they have a tough job, and some of the souls they're dealing with are a real handful. And I tell you about this one is that, some of these souls don't want anything to do with angels. They want nothing to do with God, nothing at all. And they just want to be left alone, and just leave me alone. But the angels are there, and they're assigned to people. They're assigned to souls. And in this one particular instance, this one soul didn't want to see the angel whatsoever, and it's just, I mean, I kid you not, it was yelling and screaming, just carry on. It was almost like you just couldn't believe what I was watching. But the angel said because it was carrying on, he said, I think we need to discuss your behavior. And that's a phrase that all of us can kind of relate to, because we've seen people in this lifetime, boy, some of their behavior is something else to see. So you kind of relate to what was going on with it. But I said the angels really have a tough job. I mean, they have some souls that are just a handful. Other reasons about Earthbound is, that you've seen these ghost stories, things that are these, and there are souls that are there that are just, kind of a bad way, and just they're just bad souls. But they don't rise to the level of being evil. They're hateful. They're just terribly menacing. They use fear, whatever. But they don't rise to the level of being evil. They're not taken away. So they're kind of really more or less really menacing, and they can. Some of the stuff you see on television, they can be pretty scary at times, but they're just menacing. And so, as I say, there's a whole lot of different reasons why, that Earthbound people are Earthbound. There are those who are just not, they haven't accepted their death, or they were taken suddenly, and they have unfinished business being on Earth, and they feel like they were just kind of deprived of it. And there's anger there. And so, they're trying to cope with that, dealing with death, and they don't understand why they were taken. And sometimes people really die suddenly. But some of those cases, too, to be honest with you, from what I've witnessed, that they're kind of resolved. But people sometimes death can just be so abrupt. Some of these souls really have a hard time dealing with it. Other reasons too that that they're Earthbound. Earthbound is kind of it's really kind of like Earth. I mean, physically, it has some real similarities. Obviously, there's some differences because you're now in the spiritual world, but they're like buildings. And I didn't see a whole lot of it, but there's a lot of similarities. And a lot of souls interact with other souls, and what they want basically, they want that same earthly experience, the same things they had on Earth in this lifetime. They want to have the relationship. Sometimes the pastor, the one I watched, there was one guy, older guy, going after a younger woman. I mean, it was just kind of entertaining. And so a lot of things go on. But one of the things a couple of things go on. One of which is called rebirth, and we talked about that too. And And I don't know the specifics on it, but I think those souls have made a decision that they're going to go in another lifetime, but nothing is forced on you, and the timing of it's really up to you. But you'll have the angels come to you, and they'll just say one phrase: rebirth. And they'll you know, the soul will answer, not yet. I'm not ready to do that. So, but it said nothing is forced on you. So you have your own. You're in a way, you're in charge of your own destiny. But anyway, as I said, Earthbound is really just kind of it's a middle ground, and got a lot of different facets to it. And I also talked about the evil realm, and the evil realm, and what I saw was kind of in the background, and they're there to collect those who have chosen evil, or those who have done things in their lifetime that have no regard to anybody else. They just no regard, and so evil there is to collect them. They take them. And as I said before, I don't know what that was like. You know, I didn't see what transpired after that. But yeah, I said there's a lot of things that go on in Earthbound, and it's really kind of as I said, kind of a middle ground for people. It is that they're not ready to be in heaven. They can't adjust to that. They can't adjust to their death. A lot of different reasons. So they stay Earthbound for some period of time, and maybe, you know, for millennia. I mean, for eons of time, they stay Earthbound, and sometimes they don't want anything to do with heaven at all. They nothing, and they just want to be left alone and do their thing on. They do their thing on Earthbound. One other thing that happens there are those who are the vanities of this world. One of which is power. One of which is what I witnessed, that they want to lead others. And you'll hear a phrase saying, you know, you serve me. And that's kind of used in you know, like prophets, or, you know, you can hear, like, you know, serving God and so on. But so they kind of take that whole thing and they want to lead people. And believe it or not, there are people that are led. I mean, you know, when these people that want to lead people, they hit a certain chord, they tap into something that these people can relate to, some of these souls can relate to, and some of it can be pretty bad. And I have to tell you, you know, sometimes there's a really hidden agenda, and it doesn't rise to the sense of evil, but man, to me, it was pretty damn close. Anyway, as I said, it's really kind of a potpourri of everything, and it has, and basically it doesn't relate to heaven, and it has nothing relation to God, and they're just not ready. They just want to stay Earthbound, and that's the way it is. And they said they may stay there for eons of time, you know, whatever that is. Others, you know, there are others who, you know, who are ready to meet God. It takes time, and they're not ready to do it, but they come to a certain point that they're ready, and angels said, you know, this is your time, and they know it. They know it's, you know, it's their time. The timing of it is just now for them. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and kind of end it here, and yeah, it's just really interesting about Earthbound, but it's, you know, it's kind of a middle ground, and you'd be surprised, millions of souls are there, millions. And there are millions of souls that are just not ready for heaven, one way or another, just not ready. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about Earthbound, and some of you guys had heard of it, so just want to talk about it a little bit, and just based on my ND experience, what I experienced. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it here, and again, as always, I hope your day is going well. And again, I appreciate your time watching it until the next video. But again, I really appreciate your time, and thanks for watching. Thanks again.